All right, so welcome. What we're going to talk about now are some tools to use to manage your checklists. So as you can probably imagine, when you start defining your goals and then breaking them down into daily, weekly, monthly tasks and checklists, those lists can kind of get a little big, right? And then you got to figure out, like, how do I organize these? Do I organize them by weekly, daily, monthly, or do I organize them by goal? And really the answer to that is going to be up to you. I do a combination of things, and what I'm going to show you is a couple of tools that I use. And then in the advanced section, I'm going to really kind of break it down to how to actually use these things and provide some additional assets. Okay, so you ready? Let's go ahead and talk about the tools that we use to manage our time better. And the first thing I'm going to start with is not what you're seeing right now. The first thing that I'm going to start with is I use Google Drive. And I use it to manage all of my documents because it's accessible on any device. I can get it on my phone, iPad, computer, whatever. It's accessible. I don't have to worry about backing it up. It's just available, right? So I use the Word feature or Google Docs feature to actually create the checklist. And I'm going to show this to you now. So what I create is essentially, it's called an SOP, Standard Operating Procedure. So as you develop these checklists and really get them detailed down to step by step, which is essentially what you're doing. And that's why these cookie cutter ways, they're not going to cut it. You are developing your system that's specific to you and your business, okay? So here, for example, I have my SOP for Etsy product creation. And I can already imagine that my red bubble is going to follow along this pretty closely. So I'm just going to show you a little bit about this. The idea behind an SOP, and I'll talk more about this again in the future advanced section, is that you create a standard operating procedure and it's documenting everything to such a detail that when somebody new is brought into your organization, you can literally hand them a book and says, here, this is what you need to do. So this sets you up to that future self where maybe you have somebody that's doing your social media for you, or you have somebody that's creating the product images for you. You're breaking it down to where you can easily hand it off to somebody else. Okay, and you're taking all the guesswork. So that's where I have, expected duration. These are things that I've figured out over time and, tested a number of times, kind of broke it down. This way, if I decide to have somebody complete my Etsy product creation for me and they're spending 20 hours on it when I know it takes 4, there's something wrong there. And it's either a training issue or maybe they're trying to fleece me in some way. So knowledge is power, and you're going to have all the knowledge and all the documentation by doing what we're doing right here. And you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, Stephanie, are you seriously doing all this? And yes, honestly, it doesn't take as much time as you think it will, because the beauty of doing this is you're actually going to do the work and document it as you go, and then do it again to test that the document works. And then the next time you come in, it could be like a month later, and you're just going, oh, okay, check, check, check. So I'm going to actually show you the check, 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 so to speak. All right. Okay, so here I literally created little check boxes here, and I used this little checklist feature that's in Google right here. And so you'll see like Etsy common assets. So for all my Etsy listings, I have these 2 images every single time, because as you know, if you went through Etsy Bootcamp, you need to use all 10 images. So this way, I've got 2 of the slots kind of taken up for me, and my common assets are located right here. So I don't have to go guess and go and find and waste all the mental energy trying to figure it out. Okay. Then I know with my base images, with my original artwork, this is what I do. You're going to scan it, clean it up, take your original artwork and create mock-ups. The mock-ups are located here, or you can use in situ, and which one of the things I love about Google And the products that it has is you can easily create links. And so now I can just bring this up, pops me out there to the app that I need to go to, and I'm ready to go and create my initial products. Okay. Then, hit enter. Okay, there we go. And then it also reminds me, okay, you need to create a folder for that particular artwork and name it this. Okay. So then it even goes a little bit step further, because there are, when I have my original artwork, I then break it down into additional artworks by using Photoshop Actions. So, you know, maximizing that one creation and creating additional creations from that one creation. It's a pretty smart way to maximize your time. So that's when I say, you know, follow the Photoshop Actions instructions located here, because I can't tell you how many times I'm like, oh my God, how do I do this Photoshop action again? And then I gotta go search for the YouTube video that explains it. So I just dumbed it down for myself, and that's really what this is so you don't waste the energy and time, right? That's the whole point of this. So we're trying to save time and energy and make sure that we get everything that we need to get done to move forward in our goals, which leads us to our vision, right? Okay. So, and then I'll even, you know, run step one. I mean, I really simplified this for myself. And then I even added in here the specific adjustments that I made, because if I have to question, then that means I didn't answer it with my SOP, and that means I just come in here and add it in there real quick. Okay. So, and then, you know, for Etsy, I do products, and I'll do this also for Redbubble. There are certain ones that I'm going to use and certain ones that I'm probably not going to use. And I'll discover that over time, right? Just like you're going to discover this. This is living, breathing document, and it's going to change. So the products to create, I use certain people for companies for gallery wrap, notebooks, puzzles, and so on. And this way I can say, okay, I'm making a new t-shirt. I want it t-shirts. I use Printful. And if I'm designing the t-shirt to have lettering, this is all the lettering that looks good on t-shirts. And so I make sure that I document that. So again, I'm not having to go search it out. Okay. So you kind of see the whole point here of all the steps that you can take to really make sure that you understand what you're doing, and even this create digital downloads. So the create digital downloads, I created a course on this, and I still forget because it's not something that I get in there and do every day. So I added a refresher video right here with a link. You could do the same thing with adding the refresher video, link it out to my course that's in the Etsy Bootcamp right there, and so you'll always have it there. There's also the digital downloads, and you'll outline where those templates are. And like here, remember, all you need to do is right click and click the replace contents. I cannot tell you how many times I've done it wrong, and so you know what? I dumbed it down for myself. So again, I don't want to waste time and energy. I want to get to the good stuff, right? Okay, so I think you get the point here. And then I even detailed out the Etsy listing process. So, you know, I remember that I need 4 high traffic keywords, 4 long I go through all that in that Etsy Bootcamp, and this way I document it. I don't have to go search anywhere for it. It's just all right here. Okay. So, as you can probably guess, that's just the checklist for Etsy. So if you imagine all the checklists that you need to do to meet your goals, you're going to end up with a lot of checklists, right? So the fix to that is, so that you can kind of keep track of all these checklists, is 2 things. Okay. The first thing is you're going to create a master SOP document. And for this, again, I use Google. This is the Google spreadsheet. And for each one of these, you'll essentially brainstorm all the SOPs, everything that you need to do to manage your business. And because those are becoming your checklists, right? Everything that you do to manage your business, write it out, and then, like you can see over here, I added, am I done with this checklist? What's the priority? And what made the priority for me is, do I do this a lot? Is it leading towards my goal? Do I want to outsource this particular component? So if it answered yes to any of those, then yes, it got a high priority. And then I just started plugging away at it. It doesn't take too much time, honestly. It's just something you kind of get used to. And in the advanced section, I'm actually going to provide you some templates so that you can use those if you'd like for your checklists. But that's coming in the future. Okay. In the meantime, you can go ahead and kind of get your wheels spinning about this, because I'm telling you, this is so super helpful. It's ridiculous. And this is, like I said, this is what I used to do for IBM. And it's so helpful. Let's see, podcast to social and website. So this is we have a Artist Soar podcast, and that Artist Soar podcast, myself and Julie McCullough and Rachel Harshenko are all co-hosts of it. So we actually got together and developed the SOP so that we knew who is doing what and when it's going to go, what's happening, and like Google Drive triggers a Zapier to send a Slack message. Those types of touch points so that we don't miss a beat among each other. So that's, as you can see, this is extremely important. And then we even have like general description. This week's episode is about blah. You put that in there, and then here's the hashtags and everything that we use. Okay, so extremely valuable. Now, the next thing that we're probably wondering is like, oh my gosh, how are you keeping up with all the things you actually need to do for that given day? Because as you can imagine, you've got your daily, weekly, monthly, and then you've got like project associated tasks, right? That's where this next tool comes into play. And again, it is free up until a point, and probably that point is going to be when you start needing external help or outsourcing. So this is what is called ClickUp. So ClickUp, at the home base here, you'll actually see all the things that you need to do for that day. And you literally, like, let's see, let me click on this one. Create 1 to 3 Etsy listings. So that was due today, right? I added a link to my SOP. So now I can go to my SOP and do the work. That's it. I do the work, I come back in here, mark it done. It'll ask me, because I do have a subtask, and that subtask is done, so I can say resolve. And so now my subtask is done. I have this as a reoccurring task to occur every Thursday. So you can see right here. So the next time I need to look at it, it's going to be the 13th. And so now it's not on my to-do list anymore. It's done for that week. And then I've got all these other things to look at, to do. And if you have any overdue items, well, then it's a discussion with yourself to say, okay, what was actually realistic? So this, for example, podcast, these were actually done. I just didn't mark them done. We finished them last week. We're ahead. So, okay. I was ahead of ClickUp. Haha, love that. Okay. Okay, so those are done. This one is done. Okay, so now I'm working on, as you can see, what we're doing right now is what I have on my schedule. So I've created my slide deck. You've already seen my slide deck. That is done. You've updated formatting in Canva. That is done. Ebook, membership content, that's in progress. So I'm going to mark that one in progress. So that's a different little color right here, and I'm overdue because my target is January 11th. So as you can see, this is kind of how I manage all the things that I'm doing within the community. And it can get pretty complicated, but start small. Literally, I started with this right here, daily, weekly, monthly checklist. So I created my daily tasks right like this. So here's Monday. Here's the 5 things that I do every Monday. And I just have it a reoccurring task. When it's done, that Monday is done. I take a look at weekly. Do I have anything due on that Monday? So like Monday here, I'm scheduling my Instagram post. And so I actually contact Tim, who I work with, to schedule anything that's time sensitive. And so you can see it's just, you schedule your weekly tasks. Like I said, we're going to get a lot more detail into actually naming and how to use this tool, like the what, why, and how of managing projects down to this level. In the meantime, get familiar with this tool because it will be beneficial in the future. And just daily, weekly, monthly tasks. You can have your quarterly tasks. So you can see my quarterly is really pretty simple, and I have identified what days it actually pings me and says do the work so I don't miss it. Like January is due on Monday. Yay! Taxes. Okay. So I hope you found this helpful, and if you have any questions, please pop them in the comments and I'll be glad to answer. If you have like very, very specific questions, please, I would encourage you to actually do a video question, and I'll be glad to help. Until next time, stay safe, happy and healthy, and happy creating. Bye guys.